President Muhammadu Buhari has appealed to Nigerians to forgive him and thanked Nigerians as well for tolerating him in these few years. Well, it's on the countdown to handover date. A whole lot is happening in the country. And then on the flip side, it looks like for some time to come, maybe in the entire history of Nigeria, written and unwritten, the man in Adamawa State, the resident electoral commissioner who has been notorious for a very, very crazy display in trying to undermine the will of the electorate in that state, has gone into hiding. We have on good authority that even INEC can't find him, even though he's suspended. But INEC is saying that, look, the responsibility of finding where he is that of the Nigerian police and other security agencies. These are just the highlights of what we'll be looking at today on the State of the Nation countdown to handover date on Politics Today on independent television and radio. My name is Sonny Duke Okosu, your host on the show. We've got with us in the studio the immediate past NBA Benin Branch Chairman, Barrister Pius Oiwo. Welcome to the program.
It's my pleasure to be here, happy listening and viewing.
We also have with us here in the studio a former governorship candidate, an author, a politician, and a public affairs analyst, Dr. Bishop Akhalame. Thank you for joining us, Bishop.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, as is always the case, our studio line will be open so you can call and be part of the discussion in the last quarter of the show. But let's get started by keeping you up to speed with some of the latest across the country as we look at what the papers are saying. And now you got this one from the Saturday Tribune. I will relocate to Niger Republic if President Muhammadu Buhari is saying that. And Black Friday in Imo as gunmen killed 5 policemen couple. Adamawa, we don't know suspended Rex whereabouts. INEC is speaking there. There's a whole lot to find and check out on the Nigerian Tribune. Let's quickly flip to the next one. We have the leadership weekend. First time ever, opposition parties claim majority in House of Representatives. Now you can see the numbers there for yourself. And I can't wait to go home, President Muhammadu Buhari declares. It's not the first time Mr. President will be saying this, but it looks like just now is more serious than ever. What with the fact that the handover date is getting closer by the day. And we hear that a whole lot of power play is going on in the National Assembly as efforts are being made to bring on board the next leadership in the 10th Assembly. Okay, let's check out other papers quickly. Yeah, we have Daily Independent. Buhari failed woefully in securing Nigeria. That's coming from Samuel Autumn, the governor of Benue State, outgoing governor, as a matter of fact. No specific date yet to remove fuel subsidy, according to the federal government. That's much we have on the Daily Independent. Yeah. And Vanguard, partisan Rex hurt 2023 polls badly. INEC source. INEC can't find Adamawa Rec, says it falls on police to declare him wanted. Buhari to Nigerians, thank you for tolerating me. All right, you want more of these stories? Get a copy of Saturday Vanguard. And quickly move on now. What do we have for you? Daily Tribune, Daily Trust, I beg your pardon. Buhari begs Nigerians for forgiveness. And outgoing governors bequeath multi-billion naira liabilities to successors. In fact, some are even borrowing monies at the twilight of their government, at the twilight of their administration. What do you call that? You can tell us by following on all our social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on TikTok and YouTube at ITV Radio NG. Pardon me if I hurt you. Buhari begs Nigerians, all right? That's a screaming headline there on the Guardian newspaper. What more can we bring you on Politics Today this beautiful Saturday morning on the paper's headlines? Okay, that's the much we have for you, and that sets the tone for our conversation today on the program. Let's get to our studio panelists for today. Let's begin with Mr. President asking for forgiveness, begging Nigerians, and more or less in a hurry to go home. Bishop Makalame, let me start off with you. Is this mercy after death, considering the way the country has been, the challenges, the peculiarities, and all the circumstances that have prevailed since Mr. President has been in the saddle as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in the last 7+ years?
It shows one thing, that Mr. President knows that he has not performed very well. For a man to come up to say, oh, I am sorry, please forgive me. He knew that he has committed, he has made some mistakes that need to be pardoned. But I want to say that the parameters are there, very clear, glaring to everyone, that this administration has not been very fair to Nigerians, that a lot of things have not really worked well. If you go to the educational sector, if you go there, it was not the way it used to be. Things have changed. And for the very first time, even though it used to be that in the past, for the very first time, it has increased. That the youth now see education as scam. It became very open and very common under the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. When I see that education has been neglected, you were here about 8 months. The sector was in comatose, was grounded. The students were at home, no school, nothing was going on. So what do you see that? That was the reason why you have high level of Yahoo activity today in Nigeria. Because the students were at home doing nothing, they were looking for another way to get busy. You see that? These are the effects you should be looking at. Then let's come to our health sector. Is there anything working there? Nothing. Because he has promoted foreign medical trip. Other administration. When the leader has headache, common headache, he prefers to travel out of this country for treatment.
But you're exaggerating, Bishop.
I'm not exaggerating. No. Yeah. I'm
saying if a leader has a headache, he has to go abroad.
I am stating the obvious. Even to the point that the first lady, the wife, said to Nigeria that if you come to the Asoro Rock clinic, that you cannot even see a surge there. So what does that mean to you? So that to tell you that health sector has also been abandoned. Okay, look at our roads. I can tell you, Jiko Kosu, that by virtue of what I do, I travel around this country every time, every now and then. And I can tell you what Nigerians are going through. My brother, the roads in Nigeria have become very unmotorable. They are in deplorable state. For instance, Benin to Auchi, from Auchi to Abuja, there is no road at all. It's ordinary ground that the vehicle apply. So these are examples I can give to you. Is it security? Other is what? He promised us that he made sure that he's going to decimate Boko Haram and the rest. Today, other is what? Insecurity become something we can no longer even describe. That you are leaving your house like this, you become very scared. If you are traveling on the road, you are scared until you get home. That is where he has left us. Then is it the economic crutch? Let me tell you something. He has made the economy has become very so weak. Other is watch. Inflation, go to the PMS, you cannot afford it. And they forgot that those factors that were responsible for this hyperinflation, they could not address them. I begin to ask questions. Other is watch. Was there no economic thing? They want to look at those factors responsible for inflation in Nigeria and address them so Nigeria can be happy. Dioko Kosu, a lot has not gone well. And like I tell you again, to summarize by saying this, the other is what he promised that we're going to have free and fair election. A lot of billions were deployed to support INEC, to ensure that we have credible, fair, and peaceful election. Is that what we have in Nigeria today? Man, other is what? A lot of things went wrong. So he decided, he can say, Nigeria, please forgive me. I want to say to Nigeria, whether they have said it or not, the Bible says forgive at all times. We forgive him.
Okay, you are forgiving him. Speak for yourself. All right. Barrister O, let's talk about the things that he's done the things he's not been able to do, just like Dr. Halame, highlighted. But is it more about the president or also about those he appointed to supervise, to manage, to decide, to direct different aspects of governance in this country?
Well, if President Muhammadu Buhari had done so well, of course, he was supposed to take credit for whatever successes he would have achieved. And if those he has appointed have done well too, of course, the credit would have been to him as a person, because the administration is tied to him as the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Unfortunately, like my brother Bishop Akalame talked about, this administration will go down into memory lane as the worst administration that we've had.
Well, that's a subjective opinion.
In my own opinion.
Yeah, it's a subjective opinion.
In my own opinion.
There are those who feel that the president has done well. This administration is leaving behind a legacy that the incoming administration will fight hard to fight very hard to
What legacy? The only legacy we had expected to get from this administration is a transparent and a kind of credible election. But you will agree with me that it is the story everywhere that, INEC had performed below expectation. And we had thought, and that is the credit and the respect I have for his predecessor in office, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Of course, he left an electoral system, a process that, of course, kind of ensured a credible election, to the extent that for the first time, the presidential election was not challenged in the tribunal. We do not have a record of Goodluck Jonathan going to the tribunal to challenge the election that brought in Muhammadu Buhari into office. And to a large extent, we must tell ourselves the truth. Again, the appointees of government have a lot to learn from this. We should be careful about those praise singers, those who call themselves aides to Mr. President. From the comment of Mr. President acknowledging the fact that, look, he had failed. And as such, it deserves or asks or urges for forgiveness from Nigerians. Of course, whether he says he has failed or not, it is implied that he has indeed offended and then it kind of has not been able to transmit to Nigerians good governance. And you will recall that when Muhammadu Buhari came into office in 2015 or thereabout, he had promised, he identified 3 cardinal areas: security, economy, and corruption. Look at these critical areas. You realize that taking them one after the other in the area of corruption, you will agree with me that the rise of corruption, both in the public and private sector, has actually been so worrisome, and it's a mockery of the entire system. It has even challenged and threatened investors who would have come into the country to invest. Of course, for the first time, we saw our youth in their number trooping into Yahoo business. And then you see people in school, even as far close as those who are in the ivory tower, the university. They are now involved in internet banking, internet fraud and the rest of them. This is not a good commentary at all, and it's sad for our nation and for us as a nation and then as a people. In the area of economy, you will agree with me that for the first time, we've experienced a skyrocketed kind of cost of buying goods and services, to the extent that when you go to the market like a week ago, the following week, what you hear about the price of goods is something that you cannot be able to decipher. To the extent too that we now experience serious inflation in our country. Some persons may say that, it is a global crisis or a global problem. I do not agree. The problem with Nigeria, you see the exchange rate between the naira and the dollar. It's really something that is giving us a lot of nightmare and worry. And you realize too that in the area of security, it's becoming so worrisome, Kidnapping has returned to our country. During the period of the kind of the Naira, the redesign of the Naira, you realize that there was little or no mention about the issue of kidnapping. And then, of course, we have other crimes too, like armed robbery, murder, and the rest of them. Today in our country, it is insecurity everywhere. Court clash in Benin City, for instance, and other parts of Edo State. You see what is going on. On our highway, between here and Akure, just 4 days ago here, there were some persons were kidnapped. Even a police officer was kidnapped there. A week ago, some persons were also kidnapped, and relations who were kidnapped on that road. The governor of, from the paper review that we had just now, the governor of Benue State is also lamenting. Persons have been killed. So many are being killed. In Kaduna, Zango Kataf, you saw the number of persons, over 36 people that were killed. So to the extent that they are even saying that, look, we do not want military checkpoints again on the road leading to that community, on the highway leading to that community, because they have little or no effect to their kind of existence in that area. Okay. So the president has even gone to the extent, after much clamor, to change the service chiefs. Yet, we find ourselves in this kind of situation. So what can the president sincerely say that he has been able to achieve in these 3 cardinal areas, which he identified when he was coming into office? One would have expected, particularly some of us, I am really kind of apologize to Nigerians that I also voted him when he came on board, because I looked at it that he was, because of his military background, as a former military head of state, that he would do so well in the area of insecurity. But look at where we have found ourselves. So my brother has talked about infrastructure. That in itself is something that even the blind can see. Can decipher that our roads everywhere, they are dead. And look at, from the paper review that we also saw, just a few days or a few weeks to exiting office, you are awarding contracts, you are making so much money. Look at the Fort Abited Mainland Bridge. Look at the amount of money that has been voted into that. And it's a project that is going to last, they say, for another several months. So is it now that you are leaving office that you realize that this thing that it has collapsed? So a lot of questions that require answer. Okay. So the aides to Mr. President should now begin to see that most of the praise singing that they've been involved in, I don't want to mention names, but I'm sure that their names are in the public forum. They keep on praising and so he's doing well, he's doing that, is whatever. But look at, I'm sure they are disappointed by the comment coming from Mr. President.
Dr. Halame, let's quickly look at the character of Mr. President in making this public apology, asking Nigerians for forgiveness. Isn't that a testament of humility, which is a key virtue a leader must have, as it were?
Yeah, one of the greatest virtues of a good leader is humility. And it takes humility for a man to apologize. Even in the house, the husband and wife, it takes humility, maturity, for either the wife or the husband to apologize for an offense committed. But there are some people, when they commit an offense, you have done wrong. Your ego will not permit you, will not allow you to say, I am sorry. That word is very powerful. And it's a weapon, and many people don't know how to use it. If Mr. President, as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which we are discussing here today, that he has not really done well, has come to say, oh, I am sorry. It's a sign of humility. And I admire that in him. That is why I said, when I was concluding, I said, apology accepted. I will not say blame him much.
Apology accepted by you.
Yes. Apology accepted. He apologized to Nigeria.
By you.
I am in Nigeria.
Of course.
Yes. Apology accepted by me. Okay. Because it is not even easy for a man to say, I am sorry. Even some people will come out to say, oh, I don't know why I just are complaining. I have done well here. I have done well here. You see him praising himself. Well, he did not do that. He said, I am sorry. Okay, so we are now saying, apology accepted by me. I don't know about others. I don't know about you, because you're in Nigeria too. Yeah. Where I'm having problem with our leaders is very clear. Now, everything is being challenged to him now, that he has failed. It's not him. It's not only him that has failed. We have the vice president. we have the ministers, we have the governors, because all this one have to work hand in hand. They must work neck and neck. They must have harmonious relationship to ensure we have a better country. So if that harmonious relationship is not there, and we have mediocres in some areas, there's no way Mr. President can perform. So if any error, if like ITV, for example, the head of ITV should take the blame if anything happens. If you are a manager in one department and something go wrong in your department, the management will not hold the person that the junior staff that made that mistake. The query will go to you. You will not pass the query to the person that the junior staff that committed that offense. That's why we are telling everything to Mr. President. Those that work with Mr. President are still working with him in this right now have not done well. How can you be a minister and your ministry, things are not working there? You have been given the duty to perform. I do expect Mr. President to be everywhere, but you have to take the blame. The most problem we're having in this country today are caused by the governors. The governors, most of the governors are not doing anything. They are not working. If the governors are working in their respective states, nobody will complain. That's what I've always said to people. If you need a leader that will lead you and deliver the good dividend of democracy to you, look for a professional. Somebody who can think, a great thinker. I've always said that the problem we're having is that majority don't read. Yesterday I was with a Professor Sadoro, the former VC of ECMOMA. We were talking, you know what he said to me? He said the problem we're having is that the solution to our problems is in the book. We were discussing. He said the solution to our problem is in the book. But we don't read them. We don't read them. We don't feel that leadership is all about just come, bring your money, invest it here, and when the time comes, recoup with interest, just go. It is not that, it's beyond that. As a governor of a particular state, you have to look at the opportunities and the resources God has blessed with that state. Harness them. Utilize them to better the life of the people. That way, you have made the work easy, very easy for Mr. President. It's not enough for you to sit down, you hustle to become a governor. Not for you to be running to Abuja, holding a feeding bottle to get like a baby to be refilled. Then if the money is not there in Abuja, you come back and complain to your people that there is no money. While you are there, you are not creative, you are not thinking out of the box. That is the problem we are having. As a result, all the body is now on the federal government. What are the state government doing? As we speak, security votes are being released to them every month. Some are running to billions. What are they doing with this money? What are they doing with it? Anytime we're talking about security now, we turn it to the president. Well, we forgot that security votes have been given to the governors to ensure that their states are secured. Okay. They don't use it. They privatize this money. They put it in their private pocket. See, I want to say this, that the problem we're having in this regard are those who think that because they eat from the corridor of power, they don't see anything wrong in it. We call them psychopathic politicians. They'll go and tell their boss, oh, God, the people are rejoicing that you are doing very well. Why the guy is not even doing anything? They don't engage the people. A government will tell you that I'm doing something, I'm doing well. How do you know you are doing well? In every man, there's a scale of preference. When you're going to start from the bottom, the people will not feel it because what they may be looking for may be
at the top.
At the top. So that's why at every point in time, as a good leader, you must engage the people. Okay. Try to know what they want at that point in time. Carry them along. That's why we are practicing what is called democracy. Yes. Today, all of us have made democracy a plutocracy. Right. Governed by the weirdest, and the weirdest, and the weirdest.
Mr. Pastor, Nigeria is over 200 million people. All across the world, you find Nigerians who are excelling in different fields of human endeavor. The present administration got its set of ministers, the crop of ministers with which, governance is being run from amongst us, as it were. If by virtue of what has happened this past 7 years plus, this is what we were able to get from him and his team, what does this portend for this country? in terms of getting the right people into the right places and the ability to have that wisdom to actually get the right people, because that seems to be a major problem that we have, getting the square pegs into the square holes, as it were.
Well, I want to believe that Mr. President, you recall that when Mr. President came on board as the president, particularly in his first term, or was it the second term, he spent 6 months before identifying persons to work with him in his cabinet as ministers of the Federal Republic. Now, I am sure a lot of consultations were done to identify some of these persons. Unfortunately, you see, the resolve to satisfy personal interests or political or partisan interests has landed us where we are now. It is not as if Nigerians do not have the big brains. Let me mention this, that this is one credit I must give to the former president of this country, President Olusegun Obasanjo, for being able to identify people like late Professor Dora Akunyili, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, and some other persons, obviously. These are materials. We also had somebody like Femi Adesina, I'm sure, is occupying the agricultural bank now. So, now, the point that we must make is this, that government, it is not as if those in power or those in the helm of affairs do not know that there are certain persons who have the capacity to deliver. And then, looking at the pedigree, we all did not jump from the sky. Some of us, at the level of student union, had occupied offices. Even after school, we occupied certain offices, and in the course of working, people are able to identify you with as one who has the pedigree, and then to serve. Mr. President may mean so well for this country, because for the information available to me is that, yes, this man may not be corrupt, but has persons around him who are corrupt. But unfortunately, when there is a problem, it is you, because you take responsibility for whatever problem or misunderstanding, whatever misgovernance or a kind of failure to deliver that you suffer as a country. So, we have so many persons in this country. Nigeria is so blessed to the extent that the international community now needs to come to Nigeria to begin to take some of our big brains, particularly our medical doctors, who are now doing so well outside the shores of this country. Of course, recently, you are aware that Nigerians have, particularly in the United States election and then that in the UK too, you see that Nigerians are holding the fort. Nigerians are a kind of identifying and then doing so well. So it is easy for these persons to, whoever has the powers, because the powers to appoint ministers or other political offices in this country resides in Mr. President, as guaranteed by the Constitution. He sends names of nominees to the National Assembly, who look at the candidates and then, of course, the nominees, and then they are screened for suitability or otherwise. The same thing with the state. The powers to appoint commissioners, special advisors, and other appointees as provided for by statute reside in Mr. Governor, who also sends such names to the House of Assembly for screening. And if in the course of sending these names of nominees to the House of Assembly by the state governor, and then to the National Assembly by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you've not identified those who can deliver, who can assist you in moving the ship of this nation to its proper destination, then you have failed. Then for our representatives in the National Assembly, they have a responsibility. In fact, they are all participants, criminals. What do I mean by this? They are all partners in this crime of not being able to identify, screen these people properly. And of course, when a minister has been appointed by Mr. President and is not doing well, Mr. President has the powers, without even recourse to the National Assembly, to fire that minister. And that is what we have seen in the past. So we cannot say that we do not know the ministers that are not performing. We can also not say that we do not know the ministers that are performing. And then, of course, if in the course of moving, because, oh, you want to satisfy certain your political party, or because the party has nominated such persons and you want the person to continue to just be there, then, of course, the failure of that ministry is like the failure of the organ of man. It's the failure of the entire system. And that is why we must hold the president accountable. Yes, we talked just now about the fact that he has apologized to Nigerians, which is the normal thing. If Mr. Governor, with respect to him, the governor of Edo State is leaving office tomorrow, he will also seek for forgiveness. It is normal. You must have stepped on toes. But there are glaring toes that Mr. President has stepped on. The resurgence of killings, people dying, people being killed randomly, and there are no consequences. So you begin to wonder whether we are really not at war with ourselves. And we've not heard that persons were arrested. Look at the train, victims of the train moving from Abuja to Kaduna. Virtually every person involved in that kidnap paid ransom. It is in the kind of social media, and it is also in the print and electronic media. So have we not been able to identify these persons? We are aware of some of the things that happened. An American was abducted some years ago here, and Americans stepped into the shores of this country and rescued their citizens. So why is it difficult for us? Chibok girls, some of them are still in captivity till today. Nothing has been done. We've not been told that they've been taken outside the shores of this country, whether they're in Niger Republic or somewhere else. Even if they're in Niger Republic, Nigeria has one of the strongest military that the world is proud of. We have one of the best police also. They've won laurels in the international space and community. Why are we now having, if you interview some of this military personnel and even the police, they will tell you the kind of problem they are going through. Look at what happened in Imo State. Imagine 5 policemen gunned down and 2 unarmed civilians. This is something that gives us a lot of worries, and we begin to wonder whether we can continue to survive along this line.
Okay. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio this beautiful Saturday morning. We've been having conversation on our first port of call today with Mr. President, talking about President Muhammadu Buhari apologizing to Nigerians, begging for forgiveness over how things have turned out in the last 7 years plus. Whether Nigerians will forgive him or not is another kettle of fish, against the background that there were certain key areas Mr. President made promises that he was going to fix: insecurity, the economy, all right? Corruption. And of course, the fight against corruption. But today, we can look back at those 3 aspects of governance, 3 aspects of our development as a nation. We can tell ourselves the truth, if Mr. President has done well or not. Perhaps that explains why Mr. President is also apologizing to Nigerians and begging for forgiveness. Well, it's countdown to the handover date, May 29, as it were, and another governor is also begging his people for forgiveness. The governor of Kano State, Ganduje, begging for forgiveness. Well, that's a matter for another day. But let's quickly make progress on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio as we look at the drama that is still playing out in Adamawa State following the supplementary election, which Ahmadu Fintiri, the PDP candidate, won convincingly. A whole lot is coming forth in that state, with some saying the APC candidate, Aisha Benani, was allegedly involved in 2 billion naira bribery scandals in the public space, but she has come out to deny that never happened. But the other side of it is that there's also some speculation that, or some allegations that she was involved in the undercurrent that led to the resident electoral commissioner, who wasn't statutorily responsible for declaring results, to come out nicodemously to declare results. INEC has since taken an action on that, suspended the man, but as we speak, we've been told that the man is nowhere to be found. He's in the hiding. He's disappeared into the thin air. INEC is calling on the security agents to go after him and declare him wanted. We'll be talking about all of these when we return on Politics Today on independent television and radio after this break. Please stay with us. Don't go away. Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. We're taking you straight to the conversation on Adamawa State Resident Electoral Commissioner, who is in the hiding, and INEC is saying they can't find him. So the onus is on the security agencies to fish him out. But we're back to the studio with Dr. Halame and Barrister Pius Oyewu. Gentlemen, that seems a major blight in the 2023 election. Agree that the general elections of February 25 and March 18, there were issues about INEC's preparation, conduct, the electorate. Some of those ugly incidents that usually trace our election over the years, they still were very visible. Yes. Ballot box snatching, shootings, scampering, people scampering, and all of those issues came. But I think, in my judgment and assessment, what happened in Adamawa State seems to have dwarfed every other activity that is in the negative in the election. Dr. Halame, do you subscribe to this?
Of course. You see, Duke Okosu, after the election, I was in this same studio when I told Nigerians that the election conducted by INEC was 70% free affair. When I got home, I got calls from so many people. They say, Akalame, you are 4 people? You know what happened? I said, no. If I said 70%, you will not ask me of the remaining 30. 70 means that there are areas you used to go before. When we are waiting for votes, you see about like 1 million votes. But in this election, we did not see that because of the function and the introduction of the beavers. So we have to give that credit to INEC. So these are the areas I was actually looking at. I gave that INEC that credit. Sonny Duke Okosu, in this supplementary polls that happened in some part of Nigeria, was supposed to be a further test of integrity and commitment by the INEC, the security, the government, and the political actors to free and fair and peaceful elections in Nigeria. But what did we see? The other side. The supplementary polls were characterized by those things, those vices we used to see in the past that are still trailing all our elections that we feel that has come to have been minimized. Intimidation, snatching of ballot boxes, violence. How will you feel? You are coming to vote with your PVC, you are coming to a field. Somebody will tell you, if you're not voting for a particular political party, say, go home. If you're not coming here to vote for party A, just go home. Then security agents will be there. Somebody will just come and take the ballot box, snatch it, take it away. Security agents will be there. In all of this, it's not about desperation. It's desperation. And it has to do with our core moral value too. Our moral value system has problem. The foundation, the orientation, our value system. That is where we are today. If we like, we keep talking from here to infinity. The system will not change, except we begin to promote our core moral values, which have to do with integrity. We have to do with hard working. We are talking about truthfulness, honesty. These are the values we have neglected. We have trashed them. So we no longer see them. That is why you see a leader. When the voters say, the people say, we don't need you. He will tell them, you need me. That is why the voters will come to the field. They will vote for Sonny Duke Okosu. Okosu is winning overwhelmingly. They will say the law has won the election. That is where we are today in the country. What happened in Adamawa is something that will form part of our political history. People will not forget in a hurry. When somebody was declared a winner in the morning, and in the evening, another person declared a winner. Is what is political abracadabra. A minister say, we used to say forward ever. We used to say backward never. We thought this, how can we move forward in Nigeria? With a black, we can never move forward. Nigeria, which way? Where are we going here? Where average Nigerian have your reputation, that the only way you can be respected in Nigeria is for you to have material value. You have money. You have fleet of cars. That is your reputation. That's why I normally ask people, what value do you have? Okay. Is it because you have a lot of money in the bank that you not feel that you have values? Is it because you have fleet of cars that you not feel that you have values? If this orientation, this value system that we're talking about, these core moral values are not back, Nigeria will never change. Okay. Somebody who is not empowered by the constitution, you know it. Because you have taken money from somewhere, you assume a position of another to declare somebody a winner of an election. You don't have the capacity to do. And now the commission who employed him, they have this information. They don't have database. If you employ a staff, the address, everything is there. You say you cannot find him, but you should look for him.
All right, Mr. Owo. So, this incident has brought up the issue of those who are made resident electoral commissioner. I mean, from all indication, these are political appointments, usually made by Mr. President, ratified by the National Assembly. Can you take it off from there quickly before we open our studio live?
Well, it's particularly worrisome because, well, the laws are very clear as to the appointment of resident electoral commissioners who ordinarily should be non-partisan. They should be persons with integrity and then, of course, live above board like Caesar's wife. And you recall the build-up to the nomination of, or appointment of Loretta Onoche, who is now the chairman of the NDDC board, the National Assembly, and then Nigerians, particularly the opposition parties, rose to the occasion to condemn her appointment and nomination because she was a known card-carrying member of a political party. And then this is where we have found ourselves now. It's sad and particularly worrisome, and it's a mockery of democracy, a travesty, and so absurd that a resident electoral commissioner who has passed through the crucible of being nominated and then appointed a resident electoral commissioner in the Independent National Electoral Commission, and himself even a lawyer, knows the provisions of Section 64(4) of the Electoral Act and still went ahead to declare results in an election. I think a lot of us are still, find it still difficult to come to terms to the fact that this kind of a thing ever happened. And it's going to take a long time and a long while for us as a nation and as a people to remember, to forget what happened in Adamawa State. If you see the drama, if you see, it happened live, the way the man read out the thing from a sheet of paper, and results, votes were not even allocated. He just said, I hereby declare so person. Why some of us who are gender sensitive were celebrating that, oh, a first female governor has emerged, we suddenly were dashed, were disappointed even few hours later with in the kind of a statement from INEC signed by Festus Okoye that, oh, look, by virtue of the powers vested in INEC as contained in Section 64 of the Electoral Act, of course, within 7 days, you can review a result, a declaration that has been done in such a manner, either as a result of duress or such a fraudulent manner. And in this particular case, what the resident electoral commissioner did was clearly fraudulent. As for the denial of the APC governorship candidate, well, it is her words against those who have made the allegation. But of course, again, from what played out, the resident electoral commissioner acted based on, or his actions must have been motivated by corrupt practice. Because one, he was not empowered by law to do what he did. Secondly, the whole thing was done in the very fraudulent manner. Section 64(4) makes provision for only a returning officer and a collating officer to declare results. So what is the authority upon which that man declared that result? And again, in as much as most of us believe and expect that Professor Mahmood Yakubu desired to have such an election done properly, but some of the persons they appoint, some of the persons who are sent as resident electoral commissioners to represent INEC in different states, they are beginning to show, from what we saw in that Adamawa experience, it's beginning to show some of the lapses that we associated with the election that was done on the 18th of February, and then the subsequent election too for governorship. But again, recall, Mr. Sonny Dukogosun, that we're here on the day of election. Nigeria decides. And then we x-rayed the conduct of the election across the states, across the country. And of course, we thought that we had gone beyond the ballot box snatching, toggery, buying of votes, and the rest of them. And I recall that day, I said it was too early for us to score INEC, to rate them. And at the end of the day, everything, of course, what has happened is something that all of us, it's a story for another day. Absolutely. But we must tell ourselves the truth that I had also advocated for a staggered election, believing that when we have staggered election like we have in Edo, Ondo, Kogi, Bayelsa, and some states like that, the whole world's searchlight is beamed on that state, and INEC will have no excuse for not doing the proper thing.
All right, let me get our studio line open. The number we're using for today is 070-8365-4889. Please take that down. You can use that number to call and contribute to the program. 070-8365-4889. Let's get you connected on the show. Caller, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Tell us your name.
My name is Victor from Logida, Benin City.
All right, go ahead, please.
The issue of Adamawa issue that everybody is talking about, I understand what really played out there was a kind of shocking, like what the barrister is saying. But the only area I really want to look to, it is true that the man who declared the result was not the man that was saddled with that responsibility to declare. The area I really want Nigerians to look at, the person that was declared a winner, does he really got the total amount or the highest amount of the voters before it was declared winner or not? This area that we need to investigate. It is true that somebody who declared the result was not eligible to, so it was not saddled with that responsibility to declare the result. But we are looking at the result that he declared. Was that person actually got those results that he declared? Okay, so that we now know that.
Let's not waste our time. Let's not belabor ourselves debating that. As at the time, the resident electoral commissioner made that declaration. Collation of result had not been concluded.
Okay.
So on what basis did he even make the declaration? And in any case, when he made the declaration, he just said this person has won, and that's it. No figure, no data. And you know, before even the returning officer in an election will make such a declaration, he would tell you specifically each of the political parties what they scored. In this case, the man didn't do that. So he was doing his master's bidding in that particular exercise, and now he's gone into hiding. They must look for him and bring him out too. They must look for him and bring him out. 070-8365-4889. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name? Tell us.
My name is Godfrey Agawi from Muku Community.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Firstly, when we talk of this INEC issue, the INEC are doing more than their past, like in Adamawa State. Why will the INEC be changing that, saying that in the morning, say calling another person the winner, and in the evening changing the result when the citizens are already? Please, I want to really beg Nigerians and everybody that they should please stop this corruption. It should not lead us to anywhere.
Okay, that's the much we can take from you because we are pressed for time. If INEC declared one result in the morning and another one in the night or in the afternoon, it's never too late to do the right thing. And that's what will happen there. Hello, caller. Good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Good morning.
My name is Evans. I'm calling from Delta State.
Please go ahead, Evans.
Yeah, regarding the apology rendered by the president.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody is laying blame on the president. Like one of the guests said, if these governors that were elected by the masses, the state, they gave them their mandate. These people that they are giving their mandate to them, you gave your mandate to them to represent you, and now all the blames are going to the presidency. We have ministers, we have commissioners, we have House of Rep, we have House of Assemblies. Senators are there. Like Nigeria, I've been to other places, and I know one thing: we end up electing ficos, people who cannot go there to represent us. They only go there for their pocket. And at the end of the whole thing, we start looking for someone to blame. He was making reference to the former president Obasanjo. Obasanjo's dispensation wasn't as good as the way people see it. I'm from Delta State, and I know too well about how corrupt the PDP-led administration of Obasanjo was while he was in power. So people should stop blaming the president for everything. You have senators whom you elected. Okay. You have House of Reps whom you elected. Okay. The governors are there.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, caller. Just a few more calls. We'll be calling it a wrap on the program today. Good morning, caller. Tell us your name and where you're calling from on Politics Today. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Idris Momo.
Dr. Idris Momo, where are you joining us from?
I'm calling you people from the ancient city of Guinea.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, as few people can see, there's no two ways about it that including the presidential election, it's not free and fair. Including the House of Assembly, House of everything in this country, it's not free and fair. With Adamawa, this thing people are saying now, you people will just use your tongue and count your teeth. That is not free and fair. That means a time will come, a policeman on duty will announce a winner. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a wrap on the program today. Dr. Kalame, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
And the Bright Star Oil, thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure.
That's
thank you
our
so
package
much.
today on Politics Today on independent television and radio. I want to say big thanks to everyone that made the show a huge success. But we hope it will not get to that point where a policeman that is on duty will not come forth and declare an election result, like we saw in Adamawa State, where the resident electoral commissioner, who has no business declaring result, came forth and declared the result, even without the figures, the scores of the political party. That was the height of it as far as the anomalies in the 2023 election is concerned. But it's work in progress. The Nigerian project is work in progress. I want to say big thanks to you for staying with us. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday, on the program. Have a beautiful weekend, and bye for now.